What's up with you for today's video with a full Vullaby evolution team. Piglord, this one is for you. So there's only two Pokemon I'll be using, and that's Vullaby and Mandibuzz. I wouldn't call these Pokemon super duper popular, and they've got, well, I wouldn't call the abilities super overpowered either. So we got Big Pecs, Overcoat, and Weak Armor. I'll be featuring these Pokemon and all their abilities in today's video. I actually had some very, very good content, surprisingly, for a team with quite a few weaknesses. Today we have got 7 battles, a nice big fat video, and I hope you enjoy. First Pokemon battle, this on the Poke Portal. They actually brought 4 Pokemon along. My team was also 4 Pokemon too, so 2 Vullaby and 2 Mandibuzz. The first Vullaby we've got here, this is a Foul Play, Tailwind, Attract, and Toxic set. So I knew the opponent would just set up the typical Volcarona with Quiver Dance, so I had to really try and stop it. Now, this set is very, very bulky with Evolite. It's actually a very, very tanky Pokemon. This is more defensive though, so it's max health and max defense and bold nature, and I've got, impish nature, and I've got Evolite, and the ability is Overcoat. So Overcoat was just kind of handy when it had any other, like, you know, powder moves, sandstorm damage, you know, effect spore and things like that. So it was good for those sort of things. So I'm really breaking down this Volcarona at the moment with my Toxic, and it's going to be going for Fiery Dance here. So Fiery Dance is going to hit very, very hard, but Vullaby's overall bulk with Evolite actually managed to live there. So I hit this quite a few times with Foul Play and Toxic, and now it's going to be a double KO. So they're going to go for Giga Drain to try and finish me off, but that's not going to be enough to allow them to live another turn. Now, what do you think of Vullaby and Mandibuzz? Let me know in the comment section of the video. Do you like these Pokemon? What do you, what do you think of them? I guess they're like a, I guess you'd say they're like a vulture, kind of a vulture sort of Pokemon, I would say. I was going to say eagle, but they're not really eagle, they're a vulture. So, next Pokemon is going to be Goldengo. That reminds me, I should do some, I'm thinking of some Poke puns, or some jokes, some vulture jokes. I got to, conjure them up. Anyway, while I do that, I've got a physical Mandibuzz here. This one is pretty terrible, but it was quite fun to use. We got a Terra Ground Mandibuzz with Bone Club. And it's pretty cool that it gets a multi-hitting move. So we're going to have Lash Out and Bone Club as a move combination here. It actually works kind of well with Weak Armor when you get to go second, and then you get the Weak Armor drop and then a Lash Out boost. Unfortunately, Goldengo is going to be able to fight me there with a nasty plot and a Power Gem. So I'm in quite a bit of trouble here. That was max speed and max attack set. And that also had Weak Armor and Loaded Die. So max, it had Adamant Nature 2 and Weak Armor to boost its speed and Roost and Brave Bird. Next Pokemon we got here is going to be Mandibuzz. This is my second one. This is my special attacking set. Now, this Pokemon is more known for its bulk and support rather than being a raw offensive Pokemon. So it was pretty difficult to get some damage output. So I had this set here. I felt like it had the best damage output you could get from a Mandibuzz. I actually got a Mandibuzz sweep with this set. So if you'd like to see that Mandibuzz sweep, let me know. I've got a Zwellios one I've got to put up, but maybe we can have a double sweep day with Zwellios and Mandibuzz if you'd like to see that. That's going to be the end of the Goldengo. We've got an Intimidating Salamence here. They're going to go for Dragon Rush, and I'm actually going to live that. Mandibuzz has some quite nice bulk to it, so Weak Armor is going to come into effect here. This set has got Terra Blast, Ground, Hurricane, Dank Pulse, and Nasty Plot, max special attack, modest nature, and max speed with a weakness policy. So there's a confusion on the Salamence here. I went for a Dank Pulse. It didn't take it out. I was like, oh, come on. Now Salamence is going to be confused, and Salamence actually gets a Temper Flare off here. So that's going to be enough to faint me. So all I've got left now is going to be my other Vullaby. Now, this other Vullaby was also a bulky set, but it was a specially defensive set. So I knew I would get, hit pretty hard by a physical move. So I've got this one, Roost, Iron Defense, Toxic, and Snarl. And I've also got on there as the ability Big Pecs. So Big Pecs actually stops any, say someone used Thunderous Kick on you. It actually stops any, defensive drops, which is, it could be quite handy on a, more of a bulky defensive set. It's gimmicky though, but it can come in handy. So we've got a little Timmy Terrier on the Salamence. Obviously, they don't want to lose to like 2 Vullaby and 2 Mandibuzz, so we got Terrifier Salamence. Salamence is going to be confused here, and unfortunately for Salamence, it's going to hit itself in confusion, and that is a KO on the Salamence and a salty rage. Salty rage quit. So if you enjoyed this first battle, people, make sure you hit that like button if you want to support the channel. Give that a bit of a hit and a tickle, and let's get on to the battle number 2. Man, that switch went out the window. That switch is in 2 parts. Now watch this battle. This was absolutely insane. Battle 2, this one here is against Anubis. This was another battle I had on the Poker Portal. We got a high Dragon lead. Now this person had a very, very sweaty team. Super, super competitive. So like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I think I'm going to get absolutely destroyed, right? If you've seen the team preview, you know, right? So we got this high Dragon swapping out. It's going to use Flamethrower. I went into the bulky Vullaby to tank whatever, move it would use, and they're going to swap out into the Garchomp. So I managed to get a Toxic up against Garchomp, which is good, because I know that Garchomp is going to either have Rock Slide or Stone Edge, so it's a very easy counter to my team, so they just have to, just got to press the A button there with their face. Here comes the Stone Miss, and I lived it, which is really, really cool. So I managed to get Iron Defense off. I was actually trying and hoping for a miss on Stone Edge, or maybe they'd attempt a Sword Dance. With Toxic, it takes 6 turns from full health to take them out. So they managed to land 2 Stone Edges in a row, which is pretty lucky, and that's the end of my Vullaby. But, there's not a lot I could have done there. I was hoping maybe I could get the foul play set going. So I went to my second Mandibuzz here. Sorry, my first one. This is the set here that got hit by a Stone Edge, and it activated my my weak armor. So I'm like, well, that's pretty good there. I've got a speed boost, going to sort of allow that, and this is the physical one. So I'm going for Bone Rush here. Bone Rush doesn't make any contact with it, so I was like, well, that's going to be good for if it's got Rough Skin, which I'm sure it does. So that's going to be hitting a minimum of 4 times. Unfortunately, Mandibuzz's offensive stats are absolutely garbage. You don't really use Mandibuzz this way. However, I did get a weak armor off, so that allowed me to take out the Garchomp. I outsped it, which is really cool. So that was one easy counter for them gone against my team, but they had tons of really good counters. So next Pokemon's going to be Dragonite. I did a bit of a swap there, so I thought, look, I just want to see what it's going to use. I think it's going to use Extreme Speed, and we're going to swap the Vullaby, and it used Ice Punch. So at this stage, it was like an idea was like formulating in my head. I was like, I might be able to see if I can get a sweep against this person. I mean, their team is stacked, obviously, but I might have a small chance if everything goes right. So I got the Toxic on the Dragonite, which is good, so that's going to get rid of its multi-scale. It's also a shiny Dragonite, too. You know how much I hate shiny Dragonite. So that's the end of Vullaby. That's both my defensive walls gone. So I've got the physical Mandibuzz left, and I've got the special one. So I thought, well, the physical one at this point is disposable. Let's see if it's got another move like Extreme Speed, and it's going to outspeed me. So, all right, fair enough. That's cool. That's a turn of Toxic. So I've got 1 more Pokemon left. They've got 5 more. They've got 5 more sweaty Pokemon. So I've got this Mandibuzz. I'm thinking, if I can get a weakness policy here on the Ice Punch and live it fairly well, which I did. Mandibuzz has got some good Bolt. That'll give me some extra speed, because I know there's a Pokemon on their team that's going to outspeed me. Like, virtually all of them are going to have that, right? So I've got the weakness policy. I've got the weak armor on top of that, and I went for the nasty plot. So this gave me +4 in special attack. Now, Mandibuzz's special attack is pretty bad. I think it's like 55 base and special attack, so it's horrendous, right? So you pretty much need like 2 boosts. Then they went for the obvious E-Speed there. I knew I'd live that because it wasn't stab, and judging on the damage that Ice Punch did. So we can go for a Dark Pulse here, and that's going to finish off the Dragonite. So Dragonite was the Pokemon I was hoping that would set Mandibuzz up, and it did. Next Pokemon's going to be Dragapult. I was thinking I'll just go for Dark Pulse here. They may go for Terra, but they didn't. Maybe they thought that outspeed me. Maybe it was the Choice Scarf set, but this is pretty quick after a weak armor, right? So, sorry, 2 weak armors. Next Pokemon's going to be Eternatus. They probably don't expect me to have Terra Ground at all. They're probably pretty surprised they're getting swept by a Mandibuzz in general. So I'm going to be going for a Terra Ground here. Terra Ground, Terra Blast. This is good because it gives me immunity to any electric type moves. My whole team is weak to it. Plus, it gives me some extra coverage too against poison types. Turtles I was worried about, so I'm like, well, this thing is really bulky, even a sweeping set. But with all the offensive, with Modest and +4 in special attack, that was enough to take it out. So like, man, this is going so good. Next Pokemon is the Hydreigon again. I was like, well, I'm going to have to go for a risk here. And when I mean risk, I mean I have to go for Hurricane. It's very powerful, but it can miss sometimes. I was hoping for no Terra Steel, and it was Terra Fairy. So I'm like, that's perfect, right? This has nothing to outspeed me. Even if it's Choice Scarf, I should still outspeed it. And Hurricane is going to land, and that is going to be the end of Hydreigon. So we got a full sweep going here with the special Mandibuzz against a very, very competitive team. The last Pokemon is Miraidon. I'm like, okay, this is great. I can go for the Terra Ground, and this will be enough to take it out because I took out the Turtus before, and it's going to be more bulky. So I'm going for the Terra Ground on the Miraidon here, and Miraidon lives on 1 health. You wouldn't read about it. So that absolutely had to have max health or Assault Vest. That was so unlucky. Like, come on. So they live by the skin of their teeth there. Man, I don't know about that damage calc. I think I did a low roll there. Seriously. But if someone wants to do a damage calc for that, I very, very much would be interested in that. But thank you to whoever that was. If you do watch this video, let me know in the comment section. I always like to know if I battled like a random person in the video. But man, were you surprised by the Mandibuzz? Like, it was crazy, right? I was really impressed how that team went against that, against those very competitive Pokemon. Let's get on to battle number 3 here. We've got another battle. I'm not sure about these trainer names. If anyone wants to translate them, that would be awesome. I actually got a lucky flincher against Cerulege, so that was a nice start to the battle. Now, the next Pokemon I come out here is going to be, Hairy Mama's cousin. Now, I'm going to go for a Terra Ground here. I was thinking to myself, it'll probably go for an Electric-type move, and then I can get a free turn to set up the Nasty Plot. Maybe I can get try for a sweep again. This was hard to get a sweep with because virtually you needed, you seen last time, right? I had +4 and it still failed to take a Pokemon out with Stab super effective, right? So you needed 4. So I went for that Nasty Plot again. I really had to get some, boost up here, and I thought maybe they'll activate my my Weak Armor too, which they did, and it didn't do a lot of damage. So I've got Weak Armor +4 in special attack. So now I can go for a Terra Blast Ground, and that's going to hit like really, really hard coming from Mandibuzz's special attack. And guess what? It lived. So I'd say that was Assault Vest as well. I would say that's 2 Assault Vest Pokemon back-to-back that managed to live that. I don't know if someone wants to do damage calcs, but I reckon that definitely had an Assault Vest for sure. Absolutely, Miraidon did 1000%, right? So that's the end of my special attacking Pokemon. That's the end of my Terra. I'm like, what are my options here? Like, what can I do? Like, how am I going to be able to, like, still win this battle? So I'm going into the, it's actually pretty surprising, the amount of battles I did. This physical Mandibuzz did really, really well in a lot of battles. So I think it just surprised people because I didn't expect it to have that sort of like physical offense or like the variety of coverage it had. So this was absolute BS, right? Like, you wouldn't read about it. Like, watch this, right? So in comes my my left tire, and I went for the Bone Rush, right, and it missed. So I was like, that was a pretty lucky miss. Then they went for the Ice Fang, and that did a lot of damage. That's a 2-hit KO. So I went for, I had to go for Bone Rush the next turn. I know, and it missed. Like 2 times in a row, 2 Bone Rushes. That was absolutely crazy lucky there. That was so lucky. So that's the end of my Mandibuzz. I was like, man, this is terrible, right? So I've got 2 Vullabys left. I'm like, all right, I might be able to get this going, right? I might be able to try and beat this thing. And then I got freeze hacks by Ice Fang. I'm like, come on, bro. You're getting so lucky, right? I was getting so salty too. So I'm like, man, I want to beat this stupid thing, right? So they got another Ice Fang against me. I thawed out. It's like, yes, finally, at last, a slither of luck, So I go for Foul Play, good damage. Unfortunately, I would have gone for Foul Play from the get-go and, definitely taken that out, but it didn't happen. So I've got 1 Vullaby left. I'm like, man, something's going to happen here. Now, this Vullaby was a little bit different. It was a Terra Electric set. So I've got Iron Defense in this. I thought, you know what? If I get these Iron Defenses going, I can definitely go for Roost and Iron Defense combination and maybe try and beat this, right? So I've got Toxic on here, and I've got Snarl too. So obviously I can't use Toxic, but I should be able to take this out with Snarl eventually. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting all my Iron Defenses up with Everlight. This thing's going to be absolutely insane. What were the EVs on this? This is a special defensive set. Now, with all the iron defenses up, right, I could then start using Snarl, which would then, say if I come across a special attacker and they tried to start boosting right, I could go for Snarl and drop that. So it was very, very difficult to get around as well. And it had big pecs too, so it wouldn't be affected by any like defensive things. So anyway, it's going to go for an Iron Head, and then it's going to crit me. I was like, come on, this person was so lucky, like real talk. Like, tell me what you think about that battle. That was pure salt. That was the most undeserved win I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't actually, you know what, I don't even care if I won or lost the battle, but that was like, that had to be one of the most undeserved wins ever. I played like perfectly, but I guess that's how it happens, right? You know, that's Pokemon. I was laughing and crying at the same time. Anyway, let's get on to battle number 4. This is another Poke Portal battle, and this team was like pure as like legendary. It's like, man, I don't even know what I'm going to do to this team. So I'm trying to take a Dialga Origin out with a Bone Rush physical Mandibuzz, and I tell you what, it took a lot of hits. So this actually was a physical set, which was pretty cool. So it did half my health, and it activated my weak armor, which was kind of nice. The next Iron Tail will absolutely take Mandibuzz out, so I'm really hoping I can get rid of this thing. I got a couple of lucky crits there, and I took out the Dialga. I actually got 2 crits there, so that was nice. But I think they might have taken it out anyway. Like, the first one was like 4 hits, so I'd say I would have beaten that anyway without those crits, but it was nice to get rid of that Pokemon. Now, the next one was Flutterlame. I'm going to go for Brave Bird here. Flutterlame actually doesn't have a lot of defense, and I took it out in one hit. I was like, man, that was so good. Like, physical Mandibuzz dropped the Dialga Origin and a Flutterlame. That was awesome, right? So the next Pokemon, their name is Akito. I'm so used to having like Japanese names and not knowing them, but that one was Akito. So maybe, I think that's like, is that a popular Japanese name? I think I've seen that trainer name before. Anyway, so we got Rayquaza. It's going to go for a little Timmy Ascent, and that is going to be the end of my Mandibuzz. But a quality performance there. Like, I almost, like 2.5 Pokemon went down there, so I was very, very happy with that. You know, squeezing as much as I can out of a physical Mandibuzz. Next Pokemon is Vullaby. There wasn't much I could do here except to go for Foul Play. I thought that'd be a great idea against a Rayquaza spamming Dragon Ascent, and it was doing a lot too. Like, that was a lot of damage. I was just incredibly tanky, right? So Foul Play's going to be enough to take out the Rayquaza. We had some drops there in defense too, which was handy. So that's half the team gone. I'm happy with that. Next Pokemon's going to be Arceus. I was like, well, depends what the set's going to be, right? If you use Sword Dance, I could just use Foul Play, but they use Judgment, and Judgment did donkeys. So I'm thinking, there's a small chance I can live this. I might be able to get the Roost off, and then I can maybe try and work the Arceus down with Toxic. But it's poison anyway, that was the main thing. So here comes another Judgment, and that's the end of Vullaby. So I've got the special attacking Mandibuzz left, and I've got the second Vullaby too, which is, it's kind of a similar build, but it can sweep by. This one can actually sweep by itself. Like, it has a chance. So here comes another Judgment here. It's like a, let's be real, it's like a 5-hit KO. So I've got no worries. Maybe a 6-hit KO now. So all I have to do here is just keep using Snarl against his Arceus. I mean, sure, if they want to swap out, they can, but I think it's going to be like more detrimental if they do, because then I can just poison the next Pokemon. So I was actually kind of hoping they would swap out. So I thought, I'm going to start preparing for their physical Pokemon. I'll set up the Iron Defense here. So they've got like another physical Pokemon left, which is going to be no worries at all. I think it was like, I'm trying to think, remember what it was. And then there was like a Terrapagus in the back. It's like, that's going to be no worries, right? I could just, I could just poison that and attack it. This is easy. So Arceus is going to go down to the Toxic here. And I was like, all right, are they going to send in the physical attacker, or are they going to send in, the Terrapagus? And send in the Terrapagus. I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'll just, poison stall them. There's absolutely nothing they can do. So I'm waiting to see what they're going to do. And then they went for the Terra. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then, right, their mum was like, dinner's ready, little Timmy. And then they threw the switch across the room and disconnected. So that's the end of, the 4th battle. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but let's be real. There was no way they were getting past my Vullaby, right? Let's get on to battle number 5. This battle, I have no idea what their trainer name is. And also, I think it's time for some puns as well. I've thought of a pun for a vulture. Like, so how about this one? Anyway, we're going to Pikachu lead. We're going to give that a couple of bones. And the joke for today, if I can think of another one, I'll try. What happens? What happened to the vulture? The vulture that became a priest. He became a bird of prey. Get it? A bird of prey. There's your first vulture pun. I'm trying to think of another one at the moment. I was trying to think of like birds of a feather flock together and stuff like that, but like that's all I can think of. I think that's all I can think of at the moment. I was thinking like a vulture, like you know how they're like they're birds of prey, a scavenger. I'm trying to think of something else here. Anyway, so I've taken out 2 Pokemon. I took out a Pikachu, a Sceptile, and the rare shiny Charizard is gonna take home girl out with a Dragon Pulse, but that's fine. We've still got 3 more Pokemon left, yeah. So next Pokemon's gonna be Vullaby. This was the I actually don't think I told you what the Terra for this one. This was this is this Terra Dark. Like the other one was Terra Electric. So the bulky Iron Defense one was Terra Electric because I felt that was pretty good because it only had 1 weakness in. I never terrored this one at all. There was no point. It was just like, you know, foul play and toxic and things like that. So that's the end of Charizard. I managed to take it out, which is really cool. Next Pokemon is going to be Primarina. Now, this is the Pokemon I was actually most worried about because it definitely had a fairy type move. Like, it took me out with like Sparkling Scum then, but I know that it's got a fairy type move. So I'm going to go to Vullaby and I'm going to see how much this does. This is very specially defensive. Like that, I definitely wouldn't have taken it so well. But even so, it's pretty nasty. It's a 2-hit KO. So I thought, all right, for me to stay in this battle, to even just stay in the battle, not win or lose, but just stay in, I actually need to go for a Terra Electrica, so the damage will be neutral, and then I can go for Roost. And I might be able to get around this Primarina, unless they get, like, super lucky with, like, a perfectly timed crit, which, you know, happens to me quite a lot, right? Just watch the first couple of battles. Right? Anyway, so we got that Galaxy Brain idea. Here comes the Moonblast, and I lived it. Exactly how I knew I'd live it in that range, and now I can get a Roost off. So that's great. So now Moonblast is going to do probably, you know, half my health, and I can go for a second one, and I can pretty much just Toxic Style that out. However, if you notice, I actually managed to outspeed that time, so it's a speed tie. So Primarina isn't really fast, right? So Moonblast, let's be honest, is about a 4-hit KO. So I thought I'll use this time to set up a couple of Iron defenses because I know they've got some physical Pokemon in the back, so that'll be a good idea. And I might be able to, at least if I can get around this Primarina, that'll be good for this special one. So Primarina's going to have a Citrus Berry. Actually, a lot of their Pokemon did have Citrus Berries. I don't know. They seem to put like, you know, Citrus Berries everywhere. Now, I've got another joke for you. It's about vultures, right? I've come up with another one. Now, so why was the vulture not allowed to put its bags on the aeroplane in the airport, right? Like, why wasn't it allowed to do that? It wasn't allowed any carry-on. Get it? Carry-on? That's like, I'm sure you know what the joke is. Anyway, so there's your second vulture joke. I think I could be fresh out of them, seriously. Anyway, so in comes old Trek. It's going to go for a Earthquake. It's going to do donkeys. I've got that preparation up there with the Everlight and the Iron Defense. It cannot do a damn thing. So I'm getting these Roost up really nicely. The only thing I was worried about was a crit from Earthquake. But that was all good, right? So I thought at this stage, I've got them locked down. I think they might rage quit here. I don't really want them to rage quit, so I thought what I'll do is I'll swap out. I'm in a good position, and then I'll go into Mandibuzz. I know they're going to go for a ground type move, plus there's going to be another turn of the Toxic. So this turn, I'm going to go for a Nasty Plot. I know that I can set that up against this, unless if it's got Ice Punch or something, that's fine, or Ice Beam. I know that I can live. However, they went for a Sludge Wave, which I absolutely did not expect, and then, of course, it poisoned me. I'm like, come on. So they got a lucky poison there. I was like, all right, fair enough. I'll just go. I can't really go for another Nasty Plot. If I didn't get poisoned, I'd be able to, but you know, it is what it is, right? So I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse here. Now, Swampert also has a Citrus Berry. I think they're running a full Citrus Berry team. They've got those starters and things like that, and Dank Pulse just failed to take it out, and they managed to get another Sludge Wave off. I don't know why they had Sludge Wave. Maybe it was their way of covering. Like, it was like a mixed Swampert, so I guess that's the thing. So that's the end of Swampert. It is going to die to the Toxic. So the last Pokemon they've got in their team, you might be able to guess what this one's going to be, and it is going to be Emboar. So they've got another fire type. Now this was a bit scary. I was like, I wonder what move they're going to use. I wonder what Terra. So they went Terra Electric. Like, that's the worst Terra I could have wanted, right? Because I went for Hurricane this turn. So that's going to do nothing. I wish I went for Dark Pulse, and of course Hurricane missed. I'm like, uh-oh, this is very bad. So now it's going to go for Heat Crash. Emboar's a pretty big pig, but I managed to leave that. And you know what makes me salty, right? That poison. Like, I would have been able to live this turn if I didn't get poisoned. So I would have been able to use, like, Dark Pulse against that and, you know, maybe get half its health or something like that. But, you know, or flinch. But that's the end of Mandibuzz. So all I've got left is this Vullaby. I'm like, man, I hope I can outspeed this, you know. So I went for Iron Defense first instead of Ruse, and I went first. I was like, that's great, you know. I know that I can leave these if they do have Wild Charge or Terra Blast. In fact, they went for high horsepower. Sorry, not Terra Blast, Terra Blast ground, but they had Terra Electric and they had high horsepower coverage. So that was kind of scary at the start, but I managed to sort of get like Iron Defenses up, which is good. So we also had like speed tie. Once again, I had a speed tie with Emboar, like, you know, Primarina, Emboar, and Vullaby were all the same speed, which is pretty funny. And I managed to, sort of like feint this Emboar after a while. I don't want to put all the stall into here because it went for quite a while because, of course, the opponent had another freaking citrus berry. So I don't know, like they love their citrus berries. I'll give them that. So I pretty much had them beat here. I just had to get the defensive like boost up. I seen all of their moves. They had like Heat Crash, Close Combat, High Horsepower. I think that's all of the moves. Yeah, I think that's all of the moves. I think they may have Terra Blast as well, that other move. But eventually they ended up fainting, and that was the end of the battle. I'd say I probably could have beaten them without losing my Mandibuzz, but I didn't want to completely stall them out. I felt like they would have quit earlier on. It was quite fun playing that out to the end. But thank you to whoever that was. Let's get on to battle number 6. This is a battle against iLeaf, and we have a Groudon lead. So this is going to be rather interesting. So after all of that bad luck that I had, I was pretty salty, right? I was like, and then the first turn I missed Bone Rush again. I'm like, what? Like, hang on, I went check Bone Rush. I think Bone Rush was 90. I swear it's 90%, or is it 95? It's 90%. So I missed Bone Rush so many times. It was pretty funny, right? I was kicking myself, right? I didn't record this. I had a battle, right? This Groudon, by the way, was a Throat Spray Raw set, and it kept missing Heat Wave all the time, and I was using Toxic. So that sort of sums up this. Anyway, so I was having a battle with that Bone Rush Mandibuzz, and they led with the Glimmora, as, you know, it's such a rare lead and stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. So I was going for Bone Rush, and I just completely demolished this Glimmora, like straight up, right? And they just disconnected the moment I used Bone Rush. They definitely weren't expecting that. So I got around, like, you know, the typical Focus Sash Glimmora set, which was really funny. And the amount of times I actually got that to work was pretty funny, except those other battles weren't really super exciting, so I didn't include them. But it was so funny, like, I caused a rage quit. As soon as they lost that, bam. I wish I was recording that. I would have probably included that. Anyway, back to the battle here. So I'm trying to take out this Groudon. Groudon's trying to take me out, but it's really not doing a lot of damage at all because I dropped it with Snarl, and then it kept missing a couple of Heat Waves at the start. But it is a fully special Groudon. Utilizing the sun. So that's going to be in the Groudon there. It took a good quality 5 minutes to feint Groudon, but, you know, in the end it worked. Now the next Pokemon's going to be Mighty Inu. You don't get to see Mighty Inu very often. That's going to drop my attack. At this stage, I was using the physical set. Sorry, the physical one? Yeah, the physical one. So I had to swap out there. I was going to do no damage. So Mighty Inu is going to go for a Swagger. It's going to miss. Now, this Mighty Inu went for a second Swagger, and obviously that's going to give me an attack boost and confuse me. I thought that's a bit strange using Swagger. Must be some kind of strategy. And it was, because the Mighty Inu had the item on it too, and that's going to increase its attack there with the Mirror Herb. So, you know, if you do the Mirror Herb, you can get the attack boost too, which is pretty cool. Like, maybe, I was thinking Mighty Inu doesn't have anything to boost its attack that's really powerful. Like, the most is like Howl, and maybe Work Up, you know, if it even has those moves anymore. I'm sure it's got Howl, but you know how Pokemon lost a lot of like boosting moves and such. But yeah, it doesn't really have a way to boost its attack ×2. So that could be interesting. You might be able to utilize that with like Moxie, and that would be pretty scary, you know? Anyway, so going for Foul Play on Mighty Inu as my best bet here since it had so much attack, and I had a Track. Now, this was cool because there wasn't a lot of Pokemon that really have a Tracked anymore. That was a move that was really like removed from so many Pokemon. Maybe they just didn't like that status. Like, I don't know, they just couldn't be bothered putting it back in the game. I don't know. It's just so many Pokemon like lost that. Anyway, that's the end of Mighty Inu. In comes Jirachi. Now, this Jirachi was like a really, really big worry. Also, can you guess what this Steam team is as well? Like, it's a tricky one. You have to think about it, right? I'm not going to give you any clues. I don't think there's any clues I can give you without, you know, giving it actually away. But let me know if you can watch all the Pokemon come. The clues are the Pokemon that are used on this team. That's all I can give you, right? But see if you can guess it. This was a Cosmic Power Wish Jirachi, so insanely bulky, right? Insanely bulky. So I managed to get some really, really lucky damage there. That crit was huge, and that's the end of Jirachi. I don't know what sort of set it was, but it was a stalling set for sure. Next Pokemon's going to be Dusclops. I think it might have been trying to pass it to, like, Dusclops. I don't know. So Dusclops is going to be their Terra Pokemon, and I was kind of curious what Dusclops would be, because, you know, Dusclops is normally a very, very tanky Pokemon, and it's going to be Terra Normal, which is interesting. So I was very much looking forward to see what this is going to be. I like Dusclops and Duskull. So I managed to get a Toxic off against Dusclops, which, you know, is definitely a wise idea because it's so tanky. And now it's going to go for Mean Look. It's like, oh, what's this? There's some sort of trapping set. I'm very glad I got a Toxic on it, right? Very, very glad. So we got Toxic on that, and the Dusclops, for its item, I believe it had Leftover Sue. I think I might have accidentally cut that out. Anyway, so I've got Tailwind on this, and now it's going to go for Spite. Spite is really annoying. So it's like it's a decreasing PP set, right? You know, your PP, it starts off big and it goes. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. So I've got some Toxic happening on Dusclops, which is really, really good. And now I'm gonna go for Foul Play. Foul Play is doing all right, and it's gonna be a special set too. So it's like it's a Mean Look Spite Charge Beam set. I'm assuming it's got a normal type move, or it's got Terra Normal or something like that, as its other attacking move. But a very, very interesting set. So it's got like a support style set, or like annoying set with like a special attacking move. So I'm going for Foul Play here. Dusclops is on its last legs, and it's going to go for Charge Beam. So they're trying to like boost their special attack, and they managed to take out my Vullaby. Like, maybe I could have stalled them a little bit more there, but I felt like it was you know, more than enough. I've already taken out, what, 3 Pokemon, so I wasn't really worried about conserving my my Vullaby too much. So that's going to be the end of the Dusclops. On the next turn, it managed to live on 1 health, and I brought in Mandibuzz. I thought this would be cool for Mandibuzz to come in. So I went, wait, it went for Hyper Beam? That was its other move, and it critted me. I was like, what the heck? I took out my Mandibuzz. Wait a second, why did I... Oh, no. That's what I did. I'm going to my Mandibuzz. What I did on my Mandibuzz, I missed Bone Rush. I missed Bone Rush again. I'm serious. So I missed Bone Rush, and then it took me out. I was like, why the heck did I... Okay, anyway, so into Mandibuzz. I can't remember how many times I missed Bone Rush. So I brought in my Mandibuzz here. We got a Salamence, another one. It's going to go for Draco Mean. It does really good damage, and it's also got White Herb too. So that really needs to go like ASAP. So I went for the Brave Bird, and it really did nothing. I mean, that's not going to do like much at all. So that's going to be it of the physical Mandibuzz. That was the No, wait. I'm getting them mixed up. That was the special one. I went for Nasty Plot. I went for Nasty Plot in front of that Dusclops, and then I got critted. So I thought I'd live a Hyper Beam easy. So that's what happened. I'm getting them confused. So I think I accidentally cut that off. So where you got the Vullaby here, the Terra Electric, this is why we need versus recorders, so these things don't happen, right? How hard is that to put in the game, right? Come on, bring it back in the next generation. So we're going to bring the Vullaby here. It's Terra Electric. I thought that'd be a great idea to resist the flying type moves. And then it pulled out the Hydro Pump, which... let's be real, didn't really do too much damage in the first place. So Salamence is kind of forced to go for Draco Meteor here, which is going to drop a special attack, which is fine because I'm going to drop a special attack too with Snarl. So I've got Salamence in a really, really good position now. The only real way he can get around me would be to crit back-to-back with Draco Meteor, and it didn't. So I pretty much got them here. I can go for a final Snarl or Roost combination and finish off this Salamence. It can't do anything at all. It's pretty much done with all that toxic damage. So it's going to go for its final Draco Meteor. That does 2 damage, and I'm going to go for a Disrespect Roost here. And that is the, I think that's their last Pokemon. Wait, no, I think there's one more Pokemon left. That's the 5th Pokemon? Groudon, Mighty Energy, Jirachi, Dusclops, Salamence. I think that's it for their Pokemon. No, it's Curlier. Curlier is the last Pokemon. So I was like, I wonder what's Curlier going to do. So Curlier got them big pecs, got their massive guns, and we got Toxic. I had to go Toxic. This team is really, really stally. Like the Vullaby especially are really stally, and the Mandibuzz are like hyper offensive, basically. So I found with this team, I was either going for a sweep or going for a stall. Like against really powerful Pokemon, or bulky Pokemon, I really had to use Toxic first. So, or I used like the Vullaby to sort of like scope out what moves and strategies the opponent will have, and then I'd bring in the Mandibuzz when I felt like I could maybe try and late game sweep them or mid to late game sweep, like that second battle, against that super competitive team there. We won't talk about Miraidon though. So I'm going to go for the Snarl here, and pretty much this is a special attacking Curlier set. I got a pin down. It's going to use Mystical Fire. That doesn't matter. I've got Toxic, and it's got Calm Mind too. The other move it had that would be pretty good if it wasn't poison was Draining Kiss, but it's such a good counter. Like, this Vullaby is a really, really good counter for any boosting Pokemon. It's probably weak. Its weakness would be like getting poison itself or critted, but that's about it. For argument's sake, you could probably run Terra Poison or Terra Steel on this too. That could be another good idea. It wouldn't work badly on this team. I don't know why I went I think I went Terra Electric because the whole team was weak to Electric. I think that's why I decided to do that. But anyway, that is going to be the end of the Curlier, and that is going to be the end of battle number 6. Did you guess what that same team was? Let me know in the comment section of the video, and let's go. I think we got one more battle left. I was going to say, this is the last battle, but we've got another one. This is battle number 7. I really hope you enjoyed the longer videos, by the way, people. I know I'm not bringing them out as often, but I will change that. I've just been so busy. Like, you wouldn't believe how busy I've been. You wouldn't read about how busy I've been in real life, right? Anyway, so we got a battle here. This one is against Joshua Piles, and we got, I'm not ready that nickname, we got a Skiploon now. Now, this Skiploon tried to set up a Cosmic Power. I caught the Spore in front of me, right? But I'm not going to be having any of that. I'm not getting stalled by that because I know what move it's using, right? I know what move. Next Pokemon is a Vespiquen called Ben's Ass Crack, and this is my audience trolling me, right? This is based on a very cruel thing of my Nuzlocke. If you know, you know. So Vespiquen actually managed to live the Brave Bird, and then it went for Defend Order too. So a very sort of similar set. So I'm like, all right, this is great. I can take out Vespiquen. At least I thought I could take out Vespiquen right away. Vespiquen had a Quick Claw, and it used freaking Destiny Bond. I'm like, are you kidding me? That was so lucky. So that was super salty, right? Because I went for Brave Bird to finish off the bee, and unfortunately, the bee and the bird are going to both faint at the same time. All right. I could tell you about the birds and the bees, but I won't in this video. I'm going to keep it PG, you know. So that's the end of we're 2 Pokemon down. Next Pokemon going to be Vullaby, and we got a Florgs coming out here. Now this Florgs, I was doing a Nuzlocke, right? I'll tell you the story. This, wait a second, I got tricked and I got a burn heal, so I got tricked to burn heal, and that's the end of my Everlight. I swear I've done that to other people, and, you know, now they do it to me. It's very mean. So anyway, I got tricked to burn heal from, you know, that Vespiquen, and I had this Florgs, right, and I was trying to catch what was it? I was trying to catch a Fearow, I think it was a Fearow or a Skarmory. It was a bird Pokemon, right? I know that. I'm pretty sure that it was a Fearow. Yeah, it was a Fearow. And I was trying to capture this in my Nuzlocke, right? I'm throwing balls at it. It wouldn't get caught. And then it used, I think it was Drill Run or Drill Peck. Or it was a combination of both. And I got critted and I lost my Florgs. I was so salty because the Florgs was like my best Pokemon at that point in the game. So this is, you might give you a little guess what this team is based off. Anyway, so we're going to go back into Vullaby here. And I'm going to get hit by the Moonblast. Also, the moves they're using are based off the moves that I had in the Nuzlocke too, or very, very close. Now this thing was pretty scary, so I had to try and stall it out. So it's gonna go for trickier, and both of my Vullabys have got Everlight. Thank goodness, you know. I didn't want to get another burn heal or something like that. So we got that Roost, and we're just gonna stall out this Florgs. There's absolutely nothing I can do at all. This thing is like such a threatening Pokemon. So it's gonna die in 2 turns. I think I got Foul Play. That's really all I can do against it. Look how much damage that did. Holy shit. No, I had Snarl. This is my Snarl one, but. You can definitely build these bulky Everlight Pokemon. They work very, very nicely. I think that I'm trying to think back if I've done a Vullaby or Mandibuzz sweep on my channel. I think that I might have done a Mandibuzz sweep. And I think that it's like, I think that it could be like 10 years ago, or wait, I don't think it's 10 years ago. I think that Pokemon was in the game then. But maybe 8 years ago or 9 years ago. I want to say I did a Mandibuzz sweep. This is without looking, by the way. I think I did this about 8 to 9 years ago. I did a Mandibuzz sweep. I'm sure I did one. A real avid PIMPNITE viewer would know, like they've watched all the videos and stuff, would know this. But I'm very, very sure that I did one. So it could be my second Mandibuzz sweep on YouTube when I put that up. Anyway, so in comes Rub4 out, which is a very, very inappropriate name, of course, for Toxiro. Like, my audience forces me to give like these nicknames stuff for my Pokemon, and sometimes they're a little bit on the naughty side. So I'm gonna get taken out by that. that, I have to go for Terra Mandibuzz now, Terra Ground Mandibuzz, and it's going to go for Vacuum Wave. Vacuum Wave actually did a good amount of damage, considering. So I'm going to go for Terra Ground here, and Terra Ground is obviously going to be, enough to take out the Toxicroak, which is good. So that's the end of the Toxicroak. I think I've got 2 more. Yeah, next Pokemon's going to be Viper called Nutjar. Don't ask what, don't ask questions. Like, these nicknames are very bad. So I'm going to go for the Terra Blast Ground. Viper was going to be one tanky Nutjar, and now it's going to use Glare. So I already knew where this was leading. It was like some scummy paralysis set, probably like, a flinching move thrown on there too. Like, I would never do this sort of moveset, So it's got leftovers. I don't think that it was, so obviously it was a Terra that was not poison, and it's also going to have rest. So Viper most definitely has the Shed Skin ability. Now Shed Skin's got a 33% chance to activate, so I was really hoping that it didn't activate so I could feign it before continue to use rest again. So that's some good damage there on Viper. Now unfortunately with the leftovers, that actually makes it a 3-hit KO unless I get like a crit, which I was really hoping for. At this stage I was like, maybe I should go for maybe I should go for Nasty Ball. I was like, I'll go for Nasty Ball again if they go for Rest again. Let's try that. So another Terra Blast, another Live on the Nutjar, and of course Shed Skin is going to activate here. And Viper will probably most definitely go for Rest the next turn. I'm sure it's going to. So I waited the Rest, and then it used Bite. I was like, oh no, it's a flinching one too. Like, I smelled a rat, So I got a Weak Armor, and I got my Nasty Plot up here because I thought it would go for Rest this turn. The only bad thing is, I do have the defense drop, and I also can still get paralyzed, even though I outspeed. So here comes another Bite. It's starting to do more damage, and there's another defense drop. I'm like, oh no, please, we're gonna take this thing out right. So I'm hoping I get the dang pulse off, and that is going to be the end of the Nutjar. Thank goodness. I don't want to faint to a Bite and Glare Viper. Next Pokemon's going to be Sylveon, and it's called Applebee's. Now, I've got a story for you. I didn't know what an Applebee's even was. Like, apparently it's like some restaurant where you eat and stuff like that. I thought like you was like, you go to a farm and you pick apples and there's like bees there too. But apparently it's like a restaurant thing, like it's an American thing. So that's the story. So we've got the Terra Fairy Sylveon. And I was a little bit worried about this. I truly was. So I got paralyzed on this turn, which is pretty salty, but it used flail. So I was like, oh, I see. So I say that's it's going to be like a Focus Sash or Endure combination. So I lived that one. I was like, all right, I'll be able to take it out the next turn. And then it used Quick Attack and fainted my Mandibuzz. So that's the end of that. I think Mandibuzz is going to be going to Applebee's. And that's also the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, people. I'll catch you for my 1500th theme team next time. Peace out.